Joining us now on Radio Exposed is one of our favorite bands. According to Wikipedia, they're best known for their cover of Eazy-E's Boys in the Hood, but after this, I hope they're more known for their appearance with us here. We welcome Chad from Dynamite Hack. Welcome to the show, Chad.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
So, how did Dynamite Hack get their start?
We were all roommates living in the same house in Austin. And, well, not all of us. It was our first drummer, Johnny, who played on the first time we did Pillowhead, and Mark and myself were all roommates. I lived in the closet. And, no gay jokes, please.
I was going to go with skeletons.
And, yeah, we just kind of started writing music together. And then, I had been friends with Mikey, the guitar player, for a while. And then, finally he could kind of hear us playing, and one day just kind of came out of his room and set his amp in the room we were playing in and went back into his room and started playing guitar along with what we were doing.
Now, where was your stuff? If you're in the, were you playing in the closet too, or?
No, we had the stuff set up in I guess like sort of a common room. I don't know. It was a pretty disgusting house. We had a big rat problem, so they don't really have houses this way anymore. But you know I don't know what it's called, the drop down ceilings with the tiles that they put up that you can remove.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
like
sure
industrial, very industrial.
Like that. We had that kind of ceiling, and you could just hear the rats crawling around up there. So no one wanted to live in this one room, so we ended up kind of just putting our music equipment in there.
So when you say big rat problem, like big sized rats too, or just like numerous small rats?
They were, they were pretty good sized rats. I kind of became the one who was waging war on them, so I was the one cleaning out all the traps all the time up in the attic. They were decent sized rats. I don't know, like your length of your forearm size, not your tail.
Now, which one of you did the real estate research that got you into this rat infested house?
I think that might have been me too. That's why
Hey, at least you took charge of removing the rats, though. That's good.
Yeah, we didn't know. It was such a good deal. We couldn't figure out why, and then the rats really didn't present themselves until a couple weeks into it, and then we figured it out. We're like, oh man, they're in the walls.
So, did it ever occur to you guys that maybe the rats moved in after that? You guys attracted the rats.
I think that was also why I got charged with cleaning out the rats. I got blamed for that as well.
They wanted to join the band.
Yeah, either way, it was going to be my fault.
All right, so Dynamite Hack. The name is from Caddyshack. So when Ty and Carl were smoking and Ty was golfing through Carl's living room, were there any other possible names from that movie? Because that movie's loaded with possible band names. Like, how close were you to becoming Varmin Poontang?
That one never came up, but we almost called ourselves the Fuzzy Little Foreigners.
Ooh.
You remember that when he says, kill all the golfers. He goes, excuse me, but if I kill all the golfers, they'll throw me.
They'll lock him up and throw away the key.
Yeah, and then he gets mad at him. He goes, it's not my fault. No one can understand you, you fuzzy little foreigner.
That's awesome.
Any other movies like you guys are watching, like, hey, that might be a good one?
Man, there probably were. That's about all we did, was watch movies, but I can't really think. That was the one we had kind of gotten back into Caddyshack around that time that we had need for a band name.
All right, well, while prepping for this interview, I saw several times that you guys credited Weezer as like an influence. So when you guys were playing in the Rat Infested House, what other bands, you've mentioned Weezer in the past, any other bands that are like really got you guys influenced?
Man, during that time, everybody was listening to different stuff. I had just moved up there from Houston, and all my friends were big into like metal music, or like everyone was into Caius and Alice in Chains and Pantera. And then Mike, you could always hear him playing Jimi Hendrix and Maxwell and D'Angelo. And I guess that's pretty varied. But guitar-wise, he was playing Jimi Hendrix a lot, but when he had girls over, he was playing lots of Maxwell and D'Angelo.
Was he showing off the D'Angelo abs?
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
what was that guy listen to? He listened to a lot of Beatles and Simon and Garfunkel, and then we were all kind of into Pavement and Weezer. That was where we all sort of came together. And so
now you guys you're all from Austin, Texas. As a rock city, like, everyone knows by, South by Southwest, it's a, big collaboration of just stages everywhere and bands, and that's all good. But as a college town, what kind of town is that? What kind of vibe do you guys get when you guys play there?
Well, I mean, back in the day, we just played lots of dive bars, so you got lots of, the vibe was indifference and, or drunken hostility. And then, and then later we kind of fell in with some, other bands that, were about our age and had similar music tastes. Like everyone kind of, after we'd been playing music for a while, we started meeting these other bands in Austin, like Shotzi and Bobud Green and Marvel Ann and D-Rez and Money Shot, and kind of got introduced to different music. I hadn't heard of Built to Spill before, and I don't know, we got opened up to a lot of new bands, and then now I couldn't tell you, we haven't played in like 10 years, so we got a show coming up on February 11th, and that'll be our first time to play anywhere, much less Austin, in about, I don't know, 9-10 years, something like that.
That's interesting. Like, I knew you guys just did your first album in a long time, but I didn't know that you guys haven't been on stage like in that long.
Yeah, it's been a long time, or at least with each other. Everybody's had their own stuff going on. Let's see what happened. We recorded the album, the new album, in Chicago, and it's new for us, but we actually recorded it back in 2001 in Chicago with this guy, Keith Cleversley, who did like the Flaming Lips album, Transmissions from the Satellite Heart, and Hum, that band Hum?
Uh-huh.
And he did their Pod album, and he'd done a few other people as well, but we recorded with him in Chicago in 2001, and then kind of had a crazy meltdown in Chicago that lasted back in Austin when we got back. And I flipped out and moved to San Diego for 10 years. And
oh, man.
I was just about to ask.
That's a flip out.
Yeah.
I was just about to, it was going to be one of the things I wanted to ask you is, what did you guys do over the 10-year break? And so you moved to San Diego.
Yeah, I moved to San Diego. Everybody else has been in Austin, or at least Texas. And everybody's still been doing music to an extent. Like, I know Mark, immediately after we got back, he went on tour along with our drummer at the time, with Abra Moore. And then he and Mike, the guitar player, have been doing some stuff around Austin with different bands, like members of Bobud Green. They did a band called Everything's Gone Green, and they've put out, I can't remember if it was one or two albums. I think one was more like a demo that morphed into their Hiding in the Light album. And then I was in San Diego doing a band called Pleasure Device.
Okay. I saw that on a blog.
And then so we've all been kind of playing, and I don't know, we would talk every now and then about putting out the album we did in Chicago, and we could never agree on how it was going to happen or just the legality of it. We got sued a lot, so everyone was kind of scared to put out an album, even though we could see no way that putting out the album could get us sued, but we didn't really see how we were going to get sued any of the other times either, so everybody was a little bit gun shy to do anything.
So is that all it was, I read the bio that you guys have on your website, dynamitehack.org, and Universal and the Chicago sessions, that kind of all ties into what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
So would you get, what's the strangest thing you got sued for? Like parking in a handicap zone or something like that, and someone dented a car? I'm just picturing all these random things happening. You come home, there's a new summons on your door.
Yeah, that's how it felt. I mean, there really weren't that many. There were, let's see, how many times did we get sued? Just twice. But, man, I guess the fewer number of times you get sued, they really try to jack up the price each time to make them count.
And one of your rats broke into like a neighbor's house, stole some pancakes.
Yeah, our unholy army of the night went forth, and somehow it came back to us, probably because of the capes.
So when the band broke up, did you guys know that was like a break, or did you realize like, yeah, we're done? Like that's it. It's over. Like did you guys have a set like time that you're like, oh, this will probably blow over? It might be 1 or 2 years. But, like,
I don't know. Yeah, I kind of knew that it wasn't. It had kind of been building up for a little while, and I remember even in Chicago, the producer took me aside at one point. It's like, have you guys read the lyrics to each other's songs? Because Mark and I write the songs, and I'm like, yeah, why? And he goes, kind of sounds like no one's really getting along. That you guys are probably going to be done after this. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. And then
Wow.
we got back to Austin. It was just even worse. And then that was kind of around the time that our last big lawsuit hit us, and it was such a clusterfuck. I don't know if I can say this on your deal, but
no, you can't say cluster.
Oh. The C word.
Yeah, if you drop C-bombs on my show, I think we're done.
Yeah, and it was a mixture of, differences that we already had going on, and then no one could agree on how to, the manager was sort of involved in a bad way with the lawsuit, and I don't know. It was very divisive all around, so I think the consensus was, we'll just keep plowing through this, hating each other, and do it. And at some point during that, I just kind of picked up all my stuff and packed it in my car and moved to San Diego.
Well, it's worked for Van Halen.
Yeah, and then still kept dealing with the lawsuit while we were there. I mean, we were by no means done with each other as far as having to deal with the lawsuit, so kept doing that, but long distance from there. And then after it was solved, there was kind of like, okay, the only contact we'd had with each other was these horrible calls where we're discussing how much money we're going to lose, and nothing related to anything fun like music or anything like that. So when that ended, it was kind of like, I don't know. I don't really have any reason to go to that place right now. So I'm going to go surf for 10 years.
Well, now that you have all the lawsuit stuff is obviously now completely behind you, I assume.
Yep.
So that stuff's all wrapped up, and at least some of you guys seem to be on good terms. You got a show coming up. Are you guys looking to write new material and record again?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Everybody's been, it's one of those things. I don't think, for sure there was kind of bad blood going on, but it never got to any sort of really big blowout where there was no fist fight or anything said that was going to be, like, wow, we can't go back from this, So, I don't know. Maybe the leaving was better, but after all this time, like, been hanging out with the guys for the past, like, month and a half or something, getting ready for this show. I missed those crazy bastards, those goofy little bastards. It's been fun. Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun. So, and we got 10 years of, to make up for worth of being retards. So,
yeah, sometimes a break is exactly what you need. Actually, some of my favorite bands have actually done that exact same thing, and they need time away, go do something else, and then you realize that we could try and make this work again, and it sounds just as good as it did when it started.
And I enjoy when Louis takes his breaks. When he's like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be on the show. I'm like, oh, good.
Okay, quick 2 weeks, 3.
Now, Chad, the first time that I heard Dynamite Hack was up here, commercial radio, the Boys in the Hood cover. And my first reaction to it, I remember this very well, was, wow, this is a sweet cover, and I love cover songs. But my first reaction wasn't, I want to hear more of what this band is, because I'm like, oh, I love this cover, but this is kind of like a folksy, kind of, just a really cool and totally different from the original cover. So, a month or two go by, and then I hear the rest of your stuff. And I realize that your original work is actually right in my power alley, and I loved Superfast from the first listen.
Oh, nice.
So what I was wondering was, with the, during the cover song, was Boys in the Hood something you guys have been playing around with, or was it just kind of an impulse, something you decided to, throw against the wall and see what stuck?
Yeah, it was more of it happened by accident. I said Mark was, at the time, he was big into, or I can't say big into, he listened to a lot of different music, but he wrote a lot of, acoustic stuff, and he would play these pretty guitar parts. And, we'd all be sitting in the living room watching TV or listening to music, and he'd be kind of over there noodling on the guitar and humming a melody over it. And, for the most part, we'd hear stuff and go, yeah, it's way too pretty. I don't think we're ever I don't know how it's gonna fit with the rest of our stuff. We'll probably never do that song. And then, someone came out and they bought the, Straight Outta Compton CD. I don't know, I take it back. Maybe it was the Easy Does It CD. I can't remember if it was off of, Straight Outta Compton or the Eazy-E solo.
Yeah, I think it's Easy Does It.
Yeah, it's Easy Does It.
Yeah.
But, one of the guys in the house had brought it home, and had gotten back into it because we all really liked those guys in high school, and, had kind of gotten away from that for a while because rap started sucking. And, like, oh, that's right. This used to be such good music, and we're all listening to it. And, for a couple of weeks, we just had that CD on repeat. And, then Mark started playing his sweet love song guitar riff over it and singing along with it. And we all started cracking up. We're like, you know what? That's the only way we're ever playing that song. And,
that's awesome.
Then he, actually worked up the whole song to that thing. And we would play it live all the time we used to play at this place called the Bates Motel all the time with these, crazy punk bands like, River City Rapists and,
oh, jeez,
the Pocket Fishermen. And they're not really punk, but,
we weren't going to call you on it.
Yeah.
We'll take your word for it.
All these crazy bands, and, we'd be going along, and halfway through the set, we would usually throw that one in, and it would always go over pretty well. At first, everyone kind of look at you like, what the hell are you guys playing? And then when they realize it's a Eazy-E song, they're like, I like this song. And it kind of made more sense, I guess, after hearing, half a set of the other stuff and then throwing that in there. But yeah, it was kind of a goof. It just sort of happened at the last second. He pulled that song out. He was digging himself a comedy hole, and he pulled it out.
I'd say
that's awesome.
By percentage, and you've had now 10 plus years of dealing with people's reactions to that song. How many of the people who said that they love that song, by percentage, have heard Eazy-E's original version?
Wow. Nowadays, not that many. Well, hopefully they do after they hear ours. I remember when they first started playing our song on the radio here in Austin, they would follow it up with the original.
I actually heard I mean, at the, this is probably in 01, I was actually at a club in Chicago that they played the Eazy-E version, and I heard them, oh, all right, and they followed it up with your cover. On the people on the dance floor, I thought it was just the coolest thing ever. I'm like, oh man, they're actually playing the cover. This is badass. That
is cool. Usually, sometimes they'll do it the other way around, but usually after they play the original, they're not about to play that cover.
They did, and it was funny. You could tell just by looking around, people that had already heard your version and people that were just looking very confused and wondering what had happened to Eazy-E in the last 3 minutes.
But I'm sure there was kind of a lot of, like younger white kids hear the Eazy-E version and go, well, who is this covering that Dynamite Hack song?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Sort of like all the people thinking that Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch did Wild Side first.
That's embarrassing.
What, that I know that?
No, that I know some people that actually thought that. It's like, oh, no. So like I'm all of a sudden embarrassed for them again, like in years after the fact.
You have to give him a call. It was so sad of you.
So, these days, punk bands cover all types of things, but back then, you really didn't see it in the mainstream a whole lot. Was there any, initial backlash? Like, how dare you cover a rap song? Cause it really wasn't mainstream, especially after the MTV stuff.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. It seemed like any kind of backlash we would get, we would get emails from angry women because they would say that we were doing a misogynistic song. And, whether it was a cover or not, you owe it to society to not promote that sort of misogyny and, that you get people very angry about that. And then every now and then you'd get the hardcore rap fan who thought it was blasphemous for us to make Eazy-E and Dr. Dre and Ice Cube all that money by selling their song again.
Yeah.
Wow.
How terrible to put more money into their coffers.
Damn them.
Although I feel like they were mostly white people. That's why they would email us. Yeah, I don't know why. For some reason, white people want, they hate it when people, they feel like you're stepping on the toes of their gangster rappers.
You're gonna make our white audience hate us.
Yeah. Except
new.
There was one, I guess MC Ren was really mad about the cover somehow. And, I guess had done some interview in a rap magazine and was pretty, I guess made mention, I don't remember how the interview went exactly, but made mention about how that, if he saw us walking in Compton, he would bust a cap or something like that. And, I just remember Mark being really nervous about singing that song the first time we went to LA.
Or were you playing in Compton?
Yeah. We did an acoustic gig at Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles and in South Central.
So were there any other songs that you're like, you know what, this would be a good song to cover, this might be a good song to cover, and then if the answer is yes on that, was there any type of, in the back of your mind, I don't want to be typecast as the band that only does rap covers?
Yeah, that's been a constant debate, especially when we were talking to record labels, because, every single one, at some point would sit us down and go, okay, so, really the only thing we have to discuss is what's going to be the next rap cover. And okay, well, that was just sort of, I don't even know if we could do another good one. That was just kind of, it happened this way, and none of us are really interested in trying to write another one, and I'm not sure we could do another good one anyway.
I'd say geniusness would have you write Informer, right away.
Yeah. They were,
I'll fund that. I will fund it if you guys do Snow's Informer.
I would do Informer.
Don't humor him. Oh.
Well, what's funny is, for a while that was like a sore subject with us. We wouldn't even entertain the thought. And then, lately I've even said, oh my God, come on guys. Maybe we should just do a whole album of, weird rap covers. I would love to do Rex and Effects Rump Shaker.
That would be something too.
I'd like that more than Informer.
So would I.
I'll give you that.
Although I would still pay for Informer.
Could maybe even get Snow to be a guest star on it. I don't know. Is that guy still around?
I'm sure he's available for a very reasonable fee, actually.
I don't know. I keep hearing he's in jail. I don't know. I think he'll still do it.
Cheaper.
We're doing that song?
Do it through a prison phone.
That would be a nice effect. I like that.
No,
That's actually pretty impressive if Snow is in jail. Good for him.
I have no clue. Over the past years, I've heard the kind of rumor. I should probably Google it. There's things I can actually look up information on now, and it's since the days of Informer that we didn't have that. Now
it's cool to do ones from when we were all in high school, some old Too Short and Two Live Crew.
Two Live Crew would be awesome. Those songs are legal now, right? You can do those in Florida?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Without getting arrested for selling them?
That's right.
Now, sticking with Superfast, my favorite song from that is Anyway. Like, that's still in the rotation. It's been for years. Just love the hell out of that song. I also love the mellow version. What was the thinking behind that?
Mark's sister is a really good singer.
Obviously.
Yeah, I don't know how that was in the studio. Mark plays piano really well, and they had a grand piano in the studio in San Marcos we were recording in. And I don't know why he sat down and started screwing around with Anyway, but he did. And then his sister ended up singing over it, and we recorded it just a kind of a one-off deal. I want to say they even sang and played piano at the same time. And they were kind of screwing around, but then our producer was like, "Oh, that's great. Let's just record it. We'll throw it at the end of the album." And yeah, that's my favorite one too. I mean, I'm like, man, you guys made my song sound really nice. We're actually going to do that one live. We're going to do the piano version at the end of the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's going to be after like all the minutes of silence, like track 42.
You're going to wreck.
We're going to get real high and laugh for 4 minutes, and then make fun of Alejo, and she's going to sing. It's going to be awesome.
Now, during that time, when you guys had your initial run, any fun bands that you guys went touring with? You're like, these guys rock, and like any like fun stories?
Man, we had a great time out on tour with Goldfinger. I mean, Weezer was fun too, but they were pretty serious at the time. I mean, that was like their comeback tour, so and I think we were probably a little bit serious being with them too, just sort of in awe of being on tour with Weezer. But yeah, Goldfinger was a lot of fun. Those guys were hilarious. And really, I don't know. I mean, we were kind of older when that happened. I want to say we went on tour when we were like 25, 26, something like that. So it wasn't like we were straight out of high school going, wow, there's this whole world out here. I mean, we'd all kind of already been out doing bad things. So, we thought we'd seen it all, and man, Goldfinger made us feel like we'd been living in a Quaker community all our lives. We're like, wow, you guys are really crazy and gross and perverted.
I do love Goldfinger.
If Goldfinger is, if they're as nuts off stage as they are on stage, then I mean, I've seen them live, and just them playing live, you can tell those guys are very unstable, entertaining as hell, but man, they're nuts.
Oh man, and they're way worse off stage.
That's frightening. That's frightening.
Especially the drummer, Darren, is just, out of his mind. I mean, hilarious. But Jesus. It's a good thing he's behind the drum kit during the shows.
Now, what would you take away from like your first run with commercial success? Like, what's some of the stuff that you learned that you're like, we went through this and now we're back together. And what's some of the stuff that you take from that, like that learning and then running into the future? I don't even know if that was a sentence. What did you learn and how will you apply it?
I don't know. I would say the biggest thing that we learned is, people kept telling us the whole time we were out on tour. We had a bunch of different people tell us, hey, hey, it's nice, like other bands or other bands' tour managers, because we played a lot of those summer festivals, so we got to meet a lot of other like big bands, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, you guys got that song? How are you? You having fun?" We're like, "Yeah, it's fun." They're like, "Enjoy this. Just be sure you take time and like really enjoy the act of doing this. You guys, you never know. You might be doing this for another 10 years, or this might be it. So." Just have fun doing it. And, we tried to do that, but that was definitely, good advice. And, I'd say the main thing we learned from our experience the first time around is, to make sure that you get a trustworthy manager. I cannot stress that enough, which we have now.
Well, that's good. Because I was about to ask if you guys were hiring.
Yeah, no, not for managers anyway. Although you never know. It's a friend of ours who was in a band with us in Austin and briefly went out as our tour manager with us until we drove him nuts and he had to fly home and
No.
admit himself to a hospital for exhaustion. But he's our manager again now. His name's Evan Dixon, and he's a great guy. And I don't know. We're happy with him as a manager. I don't know how long he'll stick around. We always seem to like make his life hell, even when we don't mean to. But we can't help it. It's just hard to corral three. He's got a tough job, like corralling three personalities and. A lot of stuff, it's like, what do you guys want to do about this? And then it's like, okay, we'll get back to you. And then we three have to fight it out. And then if we can't come to consensus, he has to try to suss out the plan of action from three different points of view.
I'm pretty sure I can scare up a flute. If you guys have a rat problem, I can be like your Pied Piper guy.
No, the rat problems are behind us, hopefully. I don't know. Rats are a common theme in my life, I feel like.
So I've spent the better part of this week listening to the new CD, and I'm loving the hell out of it. I'd say like 3 songs I can point to. I'm like, I've hit the replay button on this. I've hit the replay button on this one. Communication Problems, She's an Amplifier, and So Far. Louis, what are your thoughts about this? The new CD.
I have to tell you, Chad, thanks Spotify for letting me know that you guys were releasing new material because I got it, a couple weeks ago. I actually loaded it finally after seeing people posting stuff on Facebook and I'll check it out. And I just went in and every time there's some new way to search for music, there's always a couple bands I look up and it's a short list and you guys are on there and I'm always, I'd look and, no, nothing new from Dynamite Hack. And I'm hoping I'll find just an import or, a bootleg something. And I never found anything. And then I saw this and said, oh my God. And right off the bat, Sunshine and Communication Problems are fantastic. I mean, it's all great, but those are the two that are like stuck in my head right now.
Yeah, I love Sunshine, man. That one's, that one's fun to play. And it gets me hyped up. Every time the drums come in, I'm like, yeah.
Nice.
Now, over the past 10 years, I'm sure you've been asked many, many, many times, when are you guys getting back together? Would you say that was more from like hardcore fans that love the original stuff or more of the people that remember Boys in the Hood?
I'd say anytime people asked us if we were getting back together, it was usually people that, liked us as a band or liked other songs. Half the time, the people that were really into Boys in the Hood don't even know who Dynamite Hack is. Like, Dynamite Hack, that name sounds familiar. And you go, Boys in the Hood, they go, oh yeah!
So
like,
now,
go ahead, Louis.
Guy. What's that?
All right. I hate to keep going back to it, but for people that heard the cover but didn't hear your other stuff, how would you, how would you sell them on your quote unquote real stuff? Cause I think as much as I like the cover, your real stuff is just so much better.
I don't know. I'm not good at selling our stuff. I'm too, I don't know. After we write the songs, there's a few that I like. Like, I still like Anyway. It's been funny going back and having us pick a set list now because, even we are just, don't like some of the old songs. As songwriters, Mark and I were kind of the ones who sort of picked the set list and, right off the bat, I told him, look, I'll play any songs you want, but I don't want to play, Alvin. I don't want to play, Pickup Lines. I don't want to play Slice of Heaven. And, mostly, some of them are alright to play, but I guess I look back on them and kind of embarrassed of them, I'm like, God, it's just not that good of a song. And, Anyway, I still like. I listen to that one, and I still like it, and I still like Blue Sky. And then Boys, I like Boys in the Hood, but, and Mark was the same way about, he didn't want to play Dear Kate.
That's another one. All right, when you look back at them, what is it that makes, is it like, the lyrics that you don't like anymore? The music? Do you just think that that's something you've just grown out of now? I mean, it is 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. And it's one of those things where we played them every night for so long that, I mean, it couldn't be that bad, but, I guess it just seems like the ones that are a little bit better kind of have stuck around as we still like them, you know? And then, some of the other ones that, you know, it's not that they're horrible. We're just kind of like, yeah, I've got a better idea of stuff I'd rather play. And even off that new album, cause it's, you know, we've been kind of sitting on it for 9 years. And, like, thank you, Tinky, for liking So Far. But like, that was one of those ones I'm like, yeah, I don't know that I want to play So Far.
Oh, shot down already.
Oh, come on.
All right, so February 11th, you guys are playing in Austin, a place called The Parish.
Yep.
Any plans to possibly just take a swing around the country, playing like small concert halls, just to get back out there? Places like, you know, you've been in Chicago a lot, like the Metro or like places like that.
Yeah, that would be fun. It would be great to play the Metro. Maybe. Right now, I think the first plan was getting us through this show. And then, I think like we had kind of tried to set up a show at the Roxy in LA a while back, or not a while back, like a few months ago. And, it was going to happen in like late September or early October. And then Mike had gotten systemic poison ivy and was like in real bad shape. And so we had to cancel that show because we didn't know what was going to happen with him. And then we didn't have anything lined up after that. Cause the plan was to put together like a few shows on the West Coast, come out and do that on a weekend, and then put together, like 3 or 4 shows in Texas and do those over, you know, like a long weekend, like a Friday through, or Thursday through Sunday, something like that. Right now we'd have to do probably one-offs or like weekend shows. I don't know how we'd be able to do, like, Mike is still working. Mike and Mark are working a lot in the week. So yeah, right now we're like a weekend warrior band.
That's fair. I guess like, once you guys finally make that run to Chicago, you definitely got 2 dopes over here that are going to be in that crowd.
Absolutely.
Now Chicago will be real fun. I love the Metro. It's a fun place to play, and we've seen a lot of good shows there.
What would you say is your favorite Metro show?
The Doves.
That's a good band.
Yeah, we saw them on their Lost Souls tour while we were recording in Chicago, and man, yeah, that was such a good show.
All right,
now,
so
maybe we saw Trans Am there too. That's an awesome band.
All right, so Dynamite Hack, that's another awesome band. The new CD is How to Break Up a Band. Chad, thanks for joining us on our silly little podcast. We wish you much luck in the future. We hope